Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Procrastinator's Pit Stop. I am sitting with another amazing guest for you today. We have with us Donna Tashjian. Donna is an ordained minister, best-selling author, and transformational coach who, as founder of Vibrant Living International, leverages over 30 years of experience as a speaker and storyteller to help people overcome their fear and overwhelm, step into confidence and clarity, and embrace their God-given purpose. Donna, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chris. It's a pleasure to be here today.
It's a pleasure to have you, Donna, and we have a lot of interesting ground to cover. But before we do like to have an icebreaker on the show. And the question for you today is, which fictional character do you resonate with the most and why?
I would probably say Wonder Woman. And if I was to go back a few decades, it would be for a different reason than I choose today. So, would you like to know what that is?
Yes, please.
In the past, it would have been because I was trying to accomplish everything and be everything to everyone. But that's not really who Wonder Woman was. And women say that a lot. It's like, I need to be Wonder Woman. That meaning I have so much to do that I have. But that's not really what she was about. She was about bringing justice and integrity and truth to situations. And that really is who she is. And that's why I resonate more with it.
I like that. I like that one. I like the additional layer that you uncovered there because you're right. She did do that as well. Like it. Donna, let's start with an easy one. How would you define procrastination and what does it mean to you personally?
Procrastination is not doing what you say you want to do, but in truth, it's doing what you really want to do. I love it when people turn their heads when I say things like, What does exactly that mean?"
Would you like to elaborate on that a little bit?
uh, we often have goals and things that we want to do and we say we want to do, and in truth we do, but there is a part of us that doesn't want to, that it doesn't feel safe, it doesn't feel comfortable or something. So there's this war going on inside of us. Part of us say, I want, for example, I believed I was supposed to become a speaker, but everything in my activity and my thoughts on the inside went, I can't do that. So I kept choosing to be too busy on other things because of the uncomfortable beliefs that was around what would happen if I became a well-known speaker. And it had to do with things going on the inside of me. So that's what the conflict is. Most of the time in procrastination is there's this conflict. I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. And the one that doesn't want to do it is winning right now until we can learn the why to make it feel safe for the subconscious mind to move on.
I love that, and I love how you went down to the why, because we always need to know the reason why, or you might push through and just find yourself doing it again because if you don't know why, you can't really fix the why or negotiate with the why. I guess in some cases, we all know there's no 100% bulletproof, surefire, 100% way that works, right? But what's been your secret sauce to overcome procrastination when it's
It's getting down to the why. And one of the biggest things is letting go of judgment because we judge ourselves. I don't know if anyone listening at all has ever felt like they needed to be perfect, but that was me. And that level of perfection makes us freeze. And then we judge ourselves because we're not doing what we think we're supposed to do or we say we're going to do. And then we step into judgment. And all judgment does is keep you tied up in knots. The way that I say it all the time is whatever you judge, you repeat or you retain. I use food a lot because people can resonate with it. So I'm going to go on a diet and my husband brings home the ice cream. It's my favorite ice cream. And so I'm like, I'm not going to eat the ice cream. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it and I'm going to go through a certain period of time and then I'll reward myself with that. And then something unfortunate happens and I find myself sitting in front of Netflix with ice cream. Not just a bowl, the whole container. And then I'm mad at myself and I'm judging myself and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to put it back. And then tomorrow night, I'm probably going to be sitting there with the ice cream again because I judged myself. Because whatever you judge, you continue to repeat. We think by being hard on ourselves, we're going to change the behavior, but it doesn't really work. I have to find out why I ate the ice cream and why I'm trying to soothe myself with ice cream. that's when I'll stop eating the ice cream. Until then, I'm going to continue in the behavior that I say I don't want.
And that applies to every area as well, not just not
What would you think?
to everything from laundry to dishes to decorating for a birthday party.
There's always a why behind why we're not doing it. Maybe I'm not decorating for the birthday party because my mom always said I didn't do good. I wasn't good at decorating. I've had a friend like that. She hated to decorate for Christmas, not because she didn't like Christmas, because in her head, she kept hearing how she wasn't doing it good enough compared to somebody else. And so there's all kinds of reasons. The reason it's just finding out what it is the easiest way. I mean, we can use our will and force ourselves to do something for any period of time, but it isn't something that's maintained.
And how do you get to the why though? Sometimes we sit there and we don't know the why. Is there a way to try to get to the why if we don't know the why?
Well, you can get, you as a coach or me as a coach, because that's what we do every day is help people to find the why. Sometimes you have to have, it's asking different questions is the biggest key. Instead of, I'm such a screw up or whatever, those kind of words is like, I wonder really why I hate decorating. Why is it? And do that in your quiet time and see what happens. It's a great way to start, at least.
And why don't you walk us through a little bit about what you do in vibrant living? How does
Sure.
how does that work?
Well, in a nutshell, the reason why I chose the name is I wanted to help people live vibrantly. And the word I originally got was vivacious. But in my marketing, vivacious wasn't as marketable, apparently. So I came up with vibrant living. So, anyway, vivacious living is another way. And so that is full of life. Its synonyms is peppy and bubbly and enjoy filled and all of those things. And a large part of my life, that was not my life, but it had switched, and I wanted to begin to show people how to get to that. Most of us, I'm generalizing, of course, but we work our work week and we go, "Oh, it's the weekend." And it's like, "Oh, and then there's so much to do on the weekend that we don't even enjoy the weekend. And then it's Monday again, and we go through life not enjoying life, or I'll be happy when XYZ happens, and we miss how to enjoy life in the middle. And so I am on a quest to help people step into that, to confidence, peace, joy, that where you got a skip in your step, you have energy, you look forward to getting out of bed, you feel rested, and you have a purpose, because we all do. And helping people to find that, to learn the secrets, if you will, to having that, because it seems to elude us. Even when we have a purpose, a lot of times we still step into overwhelm, procrastination, other kinds of behavior, or our life feels out of balance. We work all the time, all of that kind of stuff. And so, that in a nutshell is what I love to help people do.
And when did you know what was that moment that you knew without a doubt that that was what you wanted to do and you were on the right path, so to speak?
Well, it was a bit later on in life, and it was one of those moments. It was a bit of an aha, but also it was, I call it looking for the treasure or following the breadcrumbs. You get one little tit and you just continue to follow it. I had been coaching and discipling and mentoring people for decades, but didn't really recognize that it was a gift I had. I had done a lot of, I founded nonprofits organization. I was a realtor and in property management for, I guess now it's 20, almost 25 years. I had done all kinds of things, but none of it I loved. And every part of it, no matter what I was doing in my life, I was always sitting down with people, coaching them without really knowing. We didn't use the word coaching when I started. It wasn't a buzzword like it is today. And so I was really seeking God on what I was supposed to do. I was seeking God on what I was supposed to do. And I saw a red thread going through my life where I was always doing coaching of some form. I'm like, well, how do I do that as a living? Because I'd never really known a professional coach. They always had different labels and then that. And so somebody said, that's exactly who you are, Donna. And I'm like, well, how do I do that? And I began to discover how to do that as a business, and that's when Vibrant Living was actually born.
Wow, that's such a great and inspiring story. Everybody talks about the success at the top, right? Or the overnight success. What do you think was the biggest challenge you had to overcome in making your business?
Believing I could, believing in myself. I have trauma in my past, extremely low self-esteem growing up. I was a sexual abuse situation and I became pregnant at the age of 15. So there was a lot to stuff to overcome on what was. We label ourselves with all kinds of labels because of what happens to us that prevents us from really being who we were created to be. And that's one of the words I use is stopping identity theft so that we can. So I was not anything in my mind of the notoriety and the knowing the influence that I have today. So it was beginning to believe in myself. And that is a growth process. It's getting a coach, several coaches, continue to have coaches to be able to help me to grow into all that God has for me.
Thank you for sharing that. What do you think was your sort of proudest moment of success in your business so far?
What do you mean by proud?
Like when you accomplished it and you felt the most joy, I guess the most joy or the most excitement at having accomplished it.
Well, one of my favorite things is watching transformation happen and watching people's lives transform and knowing that it's me partnering with God that's making it happen. It's so bigger than me alone. And that is an incredible, inspiring moment to co partner with God and watch lives transform and then them turn around and transform their children's lives. And it just is, it goes through generations. And so to me, that's the most inspiring is watching God work with me and give me insights into situations that I wouldn't know on my own. And so that's one of the reasons I say I'm a Holy Spirit led coach because I know it's not just me. When you hire me as a coach, you're getting God with it because it isn't just me and it isn't just the books I've read. It's not just the knowledge I have. So to me, that's the most inspiring. Um, and the second would be one of the times I remember because speaking and being on video was something that I shied away from for the longest time. And it's funny now, but it wasn't then. And I remember standing, I was doing a workshop to a group of people and I was speaking in front of them and we took a little break and it was almost it's standing almost had a like I'm watching myself speak and I'm like, "You're having a blast. When did that happen?" And so, it's like there's these you just take steps and all of a sudden you find the thing that you were afraid of the most is one of your most very favorite things to do. It's just beginning to do the work on what your beliefs, what you want. Hold on to your vision, not your fears and watch the transformation occur.
And what's your go-to for, taking those first steps, but keeping that momentum afterwards? How would you keep the momentum? Because we all know that, inspiration can hit at a moment and then, the next day we're sitting on the couch again trying to figure out what to watch on Netflix.
How important is your vision? It's revisiting it. It's revisiting where you want to go. What we do, what usually happens is we get looking at our circumstances or delay or something didn't go the way we want and we take our eyes off of our vision and we get it on things around us. Just because you can't see the evidence of your dream does not mean that there's no evidence of it. It's just unseen. Because changing lives and having things change in your life starts with what you think and what you say. It starts with the unseen. It starts with things. I mean, the desk we're sitting at, the computers we're using was our first a thought before it became as something you could touch and feel. And a dream and a vision is no difference. So if you're falling into sitting on the couch and not making momentum, it's because you've taken your eyes off of your dream or your vision.
That's so profound and I like that, and it's also, sort of leads into what I like to say too. When the why is high, the cost is low. So, if you don't know why you're doing something, you tend to not want to do it. Just no urgency to it. Tell us what's next for you, Donna, within the next 5 years. What are your big plans? What are your big goals?
I want to continue what I'm doing, just continue to grow in that. I don't want to so much go wider in what I'm actually doing, but deeper into it. So I do anticipate there'll be larger audiences, bigger stages, whatever words you want to use, be able to. I know that that's growing and it's going to continue to grow. What I see in my vision is it's big enough that I'm going, really? That's kind of big. So continue to do that. I'm creating my own summits. I'm planning on having some in-person retreats and developing what that's going to look like in the next 5 years and just continuing to expand.
I like that. And I want to touch on that one aspect for you there. When you're talking about the 5 year sort of big vision, we like that dream big, but how important do you think it is to have something that's more realistic than that, say that huge number or, triple huge number?
It's first of all having that vision of whatever that big vision, whatever it is, but who do I need to be today to get there? And then make decisions and choose actions from that place. So if I already was speaking on those kind of stages, what kind of choices would I make today? What kind of actions would I take? Who am I being more than what I'm doing? And when you begin to do that, because if I'm doing it from an insecure, I can't do that place, I'm making different choices. You see what I mean? As opposed to if I'm doing it, that I'm already on those kind of stages, if you will, audiences, whatever that is, because virtual platforms are increasing so much today. So you don't know how that's going to look for me. But if I'm already doing that, what choices would I make today? Who would I talk to? And begin to think, pray, and take action from that place.
Such a good direction there. I'd like to focus a little bit about your book, Donna, and the process that went through. And now my audience is rolling their eyes because they know a question's coming. It's the first one that's on everybody's mind. Well, mine, I guess. They say that writing a book is 98% procrastination and 2% actually doing it. How true is that for you?
Very true. I have written 5 books, or I've written 5 books, and I've been part of another one. So one of the where there's several authors as well. But yeah, there were people telling me for years that there were books in me, and there's still more. But yes, the I can't do that is that whole goes back to that whole belief of who I said I was, who I thought I was capable of doing, that identity theft and believing that it's possible. So yes, I agree with that statement. And the key is again, for me, it was beginning. So if I am an author, how would I choose to act today? And maybe my first book won't be fabulous, if you will. I had a lot of insecurities around my education and the way it was. And so there's a whole lot, that's a whole story, but there was a whole lot of things on the inside of me that says you can't do this. You're not qualified. We disqualify ourselves a lot. And so beginning to take action and I'm like, I'm just going to write the first one. If nobody reads it, but the few people I give it to, at least I did it, and begin to just do something that moves you in that direction.
No, I like that for sure. And I have to ask, what made you choose books as a medium opposed to other formats that are available now?
Like what?
Well, I mean, there's YouTube videos, there's LinkedIn posts, there's newspaper, well, magazine articles. There's different media.
Okay. Well, I've done all of those. I didn't just choose one. That was my point in asking that. I started with the book first though, before I started doing videos. So that was the first step, but it was less visible. That was my fear, was being visible. Not my words, but my person. So learning to be able to get my words out. So I started with that, and then I started with a blog. Then I started with a podcast that was audio only, no video, audio only. And now I'm in my 6th year of my podcast, and everyone is a video. So I have a YouTube channel now. Again, there's weekly videos every week. So I have been going live a lot. So, it's completely changed, but it's just beginning to take those baby steps. You just have to start with where you are and not compare yourself to anyone else. It's your journey, it isn't anyone else's journey. And so just begin to grow you in not comparing to anyone else,
Yeah, we do tend to compare ourselves a lot, don't we?
especially with social media. Because you see the best, you quote the best of everybody. And so, especially with social media, it's so easy to compare your strengths to my weaknesses.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get me started on social media. We might be here until tomorrow. What do you think was the biggest challenge for you putting out your first?
Finding the right people on your team to help you with editing and all of that kind of stuff when you don't have a clue, anything of that. And when I first grew up, I didn't, I mean, I know tons of editors and publishers now, but when I started, I didn't know anyone. And there was no AI to help you at that point. We had spell check, but that was about it. Um, I think that was the biggest thing is finding your team, the people to support you and to make it happen.
And what was what do you think was your favorite part about writing the book? Was it actually writing it or was it getting it out there and having, people read it?
I think whether anybody read it or not, it was that I did it and it primed the pump. There was just, just continued to write. So, but I think for me, it was that I did it because I didn't really need anybody's accolades. It was something that I said I was going to do and I did it.
I do like that. Donna, this has been a great conversation. We are coming up pretty close to the time. Is there anything that you wish I would have asked but didn't ask, or anything you feel we should have covered but didn't cover today?
No, I don't really think of anything that you've missed. You're really good at asking good questions.
Well, just before we go, then, Donna, what is the best way for our listeners to reach out and ask a question, maybe, or learn more about you?
For asking questions, social media is a great place. Just send me a DM. I'm on most of them, and my name is unusual. So it's pretty easy to find. And you can also visit my website. There is a place to chat with me there as well. In my website is the letter I, Vibrant Living. There are free resources there. There's my podcast. You could schedule a call with me there. And any upcoming events that I have as well are there on my website. And the other place to connect with me is on my website. It is the letter I, vibrantliving.com. There are free resources there, as well as a place that you can chat with me if you have a question. There are testimonial page, my blog, my podcast, and upcoming events you will
Excellent.
all
And
find on my
to all our
website.
listeners, don't worry, we are going to put that in the show notes for you so that it'll be easy for you to find. Donna, thank you once again for joining us on the show. And to all our listeners, thank you once again for tuning in. And just remember, if you can't find that motivation or inspiration for yourself today, maybe just go out and try to be that motivation and inspiration for someone else. And we'll see you again next time.
Bye.